Have you ever thought about spiritual battles and how we might be getting it wrong? This is a big topic tied closely to Christian beliefs and customs, but it's often not understood well. There are a lot of wrong ideas and half-truths that make it hard for us to understand this important part of faith. It's not just about bad spirits or getting rid of them like you might see in movies. We need to understand it better. We need the real facts. So let's clear up the confusion. Starting with the first wrong idea. Let's take on the first wrong idea that spiritual battles are only about bad spirits. Some people think spiritual warfare only means fighting with bad spirits. But let's think about that again. Spiritual warfare isn't just about getting rid of bad spirits or battling against things we can't see. It's more complex than that. In fact, it includes the problems we deal with every day. These problems could be wrong things we do or things in the world that make us forget about our faith. It could be the urge to tell a lie, the tendency to get angry, or the attraction to expensive things. These are all part of the spiritual warfare we face every day. Moreover, spiritual warfare can also mean the struggles we have in our minds and hearts, the fight between good and evil, true and false, love and hate. It's about the decisions we make and the values we stick to. So spiritual warfare isn't just about bad spirits, but also our daily fights with wrong things and temptations from the world. Some people think that Christians can't protect themselves in fights with evil spirits. This is not true. The Bible, which is like a guide for Christians, tells us about the special protection and tools God gives Christians. For example, in Ephesians 6:11 it says, "Wear all of God's armor so that you can fight against the tricks of the devil." This armor has a belt of truth. Just as a belt is worn close to the body, we should hold God's truth close to us and allow it to surround us. When we remain in His Word, we can distinguish what is true from what is untrue. With this being said, I encourage you to apply the concept of the belt of truth to your life and hold on to God's truth. A breastplate of righteousness, of doing what's right, a shield of faith to extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one, a helmet of salvation so we can avoid sinful thoughts and understand what is good and true. When we forget to do this, we are susceptible to thoughts that are planted in us by the enemy who seeks to harm our walk with Christ. A sword of the Spirit, which is God's Word. And having our feet fitted with the shoes of the gospel of peace allows us to be ready to share God with others at all times. As Christians, we should always be prepared, as we never know when an opportunity may arise to share the good news of the gospel with someone else. In another part of the Bible, 2 Corinthians 10:4, it says, "Our fight is not against people on earth, but against the rulers and authorities and the powers of this world's darkness." These parts of the Bible show us that Christians are not without protection. We have what we need from God to stand up to, battle, and beat any evil spirits we come across. So never forget, Christians are not unprotected. We have a special armor from God. Some people think spiritual warfare is always a big, intense fight. But let's set things straight, okay? The truth is, spiritual warfare isn't always about big battles between angels and demons. It's not always about huge face-offs or massive fights. Instead, it's usually a quiet, ongoing fight. It's about those small temptations that try to pull us away from our faith. It's the tiny doubts that sneak up on us when we're not ready. It's the daily challenges to our faith, the ones that might seem small but can really shake our belief if we don't deal with them. The fight isn't always against big evil forces, but against smaller, sneakier threats that constantly try to weaken our faith. So, let's stay alert and careful. Remember, spiritual warfare isn't always big and dramatic. It often shows up in small daily temptations. Some people think that spiritual warfare means a physical fight. It's easy to understand why they might think so. Word warfare makes us think of real fights and arguments, but spiritual warfare is not like that. In fact, it happens in a completely different place. It's a fight that doesn't use fists or weapons, but faith, prayer, and God's Word. This doesn't mean it's not real or not hard, but it means we need to deal with it differently. It's not about being physically strong, but about being spiritually tough and unchanging. It's also important to say, while the fight is spiritual, it can affect us physically. How we are spiritually can change our thoughts, feelings, and even our body health. But remember, spiritual warfare is a spiritual fight, not a physical one. It's a fight that happens in the heart and mind, not on a real battlefield. Some people believe every bad thing that happens is because of spiritual battles. This idea is not totally right. It's important to know that life is complicated and not just about these spiritual battles. Yes, these spiritual battles can make things tough, but they're not the reason for all the hard times we face. Life like a big, colourful quilt. It's made up of good times, bad times, wins, losses, love, heartbreak and lots more. And sure, some parts of this quilt might be because of spiritual battles, but not all parts. Many times the choices we make or just life happening can lead to tough times. Think of it this way. Spiritual battles are just one part of our lives, not everything. It's like one chapter in a book, not the whole book. So it's necessary to know about the spiritual battles we might have, but it's just as necessary to know that not every bad thing that happens is because of spiritual battles. Some people think that fighting spiritual battles is a one-person job. That's not true. Really, spiritual battles are something we all deal with together. Imagine it like this. We're all part of Jesus' family, and we all have different things we're good at. We're supposed to stand side by side, all believing the same thing and working towards the same goal. When you're dealing with spiritual problems, it can feel like you're all alone. But remember, a group of people who believe in Jesus is much stronger than just one person. We're told to help each other out, to talk to God for each other, and to cheer each other up when we're having a hard time. This group strength is what protects us when we're dealing with spiritual problems. So, let's clear this up once and for all. Spiritual battles aren't something you fight alone, but something we all fight together as part of the church. Fighting spiritual battles isn't a one-person job, it's something all Christians are called to do together. In the end, many people think that spiritual warfare is just about being powerful and winning. But that's not everything. Real spiritual warfare is more than just winning. It's about staying true to what you believe, no matter how hard it gets. It's about waiting patiently for things to happen as they should. And above all, it's about persevering, even when things get tough. Spiritual warfare isn't just about being powerful and winning, it's also about staying true and persevering. Please like and subscribe and comment below with your thoughts, and God bless you.